Hello and welcome to another episode of SoFly. My name is Mitch and this is Aldo.
Oh, right. That's me.
And we're back recording another episode and we are tired because we just got back from fishing.
I didn't even change.
I know, you just got in the door.
I literally just got in the door because I was like driving home.
Return to the boat.
Dude, we were driving home from an awesome little outing.
Yeah, it was so fun.
And which we can talk about at the back half of the show, but realized that, oh my God, we didn't do the intro and outro for tomorrow's show.
So here we are recording a podcast intro outro because we got to get the show out for you. People listening. So here it is. But before we get into the interview, of course, we had Colby Acuff on the show. And
super stoked.
Yeah, it was an awesome get.
I feel like you two really kind of connected.
I liked chatting about music and stuff. That was super fun. And obviously, it was cool to just kind of dig into Colby's fishing life and stuff. I think we all got to go fishing together. He seemed kind of into it.
I know. It's just about finding the time, I just want to say off the top, big thanks to Hannah Trotter and Joe Gugino, formerly of Costa, but now they have their own thing going on called Agave Co. Which is really cool. They broke off on their own and they're
they helped set that up.
They
facilitated that whole thing.
Agave Co does a bunch of stuff, but mainly they they do a lot of engagement with brands and stuff, and they're growing a PR arm, and they're handling Colby's PR, and
awesome.
And Hannah's like, "Do you want to have him on the show?" And we're like, "Oh my God, Hannah, yes,
like, absolutely, we would. We'd love to chat to Colby." So we did. It was great, Hannah. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for setting that up, and we hope you all listen and enjoy the interview with Colby. Before we get into that, why don't we have some community updates?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, a couple days ago on May 29th, this comes out on the 1st, so if you're listening on the 1st, we hosted the Scale of Change tour with
That's
Drift
right.
Outfitters, Hook A, at the Left Field Brewery in Liberty Village, and it sold out, and it was an amazing vibe, and I just want to say a big thanks to Tom from the Atlantic Salmon Federation, because obviously Scale of Change is collaborative effort between Hook A and the ASF. But we met Tom of the ASF, which he was super cool, and nice he was guy. On hand, flew in from the East Coast, which was great. And then obviously Fred has been traveling basically kind of like around most of Canada and some of the US.
Yeah.
Touring this documentary to raise awareness about the declining salmon stocks in Quebec and other parts of Eastern Canada, and it was a great documentary, and there's some really cool films as well. Like I really like the one that Fred did with his daughter June.
Yeah.
I thought that film was really, really cool just to watch them interact, and then she catches a massive laker at the end of it.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a fun night. It was a really fun night.
Of course, Matt Martin, Mitch Beaumile, and you guys had a little film in there too. That was awesome.
Yeah, totally.
That was nice. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great night. There was a great turnout. It was fun. Left Field, thank you for having us. That was great. Yeah.
I thought that was super cool. And then coming up on the 7th, which is a Saturday, man, there's so much going on this summer. It's crazy. My head's going to explode.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be at the Filson store in Toronto. You might remember last year, Tim was tattooing all day, and we were there.
Saturday.
Dude, it's a Saturday.
Time to get another tattoo.
Yeah. So Tim basically, the guys at Filson are awesome supporters of all of our, what should we call them, conservation fundraising efforts kind of thing. They're always like down for the Filson, cause, down to support Ontario streams. And they came up with this great idea after coming to Sotos one year that they were like, oh, whoa, trout tattoos. That's kind of fun. And so they're hosting another day of tattooing and at the Filson store, and all the proceeds go to Ontario Streams. They've partnered with Yeti, right on, the Yeti team here to do to print some of Tim's designs on some water bottles, limited edition water bottles.
They look so cool. Yeah,
one has a fly on it, the other one has a lure on it, like a jerkbait.
They're so sick.
They're so sick.
Yeah, Tim's work's amazing, and shout out to Tim for donating his time and effort to do this too. And I mean, like, even the flash sheet itself is wicked. Like, it's a fishing flash sheet, and he's got all these cool fishing designs. So if you want a tattoo, come to Filson June 7th, or if you want I assume maybe there's some stickers or some flash sheets. The water bottles from Yeti, come down and support Philson, Tim, Yeti, and everybody raising money for Ontario Streams, because it's really awesome artwork.
Yeah, and it's just kind of a drop-in thing too. So like, just come at
Yeah.
your leisure all day long. It's going on until the store is from the moment the
Yeah.
store opens to the moment the store closes. They're on Queen Street West here in Toronto. They're right beside a Toroni, so you could, get
That's what I'm thinking.
get a little pizza, coffee, and maybe an Aperol spritz, and then get yourself a tattoo, or reverse.
I think
in
I'm
the
gonna do
reverse
that.
order of that.
I think I'm gonna do that.
Okay, come on now.
I'm really looking forward to it. Well, what else we got? That's it for now, I think.
I think that's just it for now, man.
Well, we got another show coming out in 2 weeks, so we'll update you with more stuff then.
Yeah. I mean, the same is always true. Like, check out ottawaflyfishers.ca.
Yeah.
Driftoutfitters.com for educational
and our Instagram
events.
page as well for anything that, we might be talking about.
We try to do a weekly community board update kind of thing on Instagram as well. And remember, as always, email us at info@sofly.ca if you are throwing an event of sorts.
Schwabam.
And we'll mention it right now. Schwabam.
Colby Acuff, right after these words. Colby Acuff is a country singer-songwriter from Idaho with a sound as rugged as the landscapes he grew up in. He spent years guiding fly fishing trips by day and playing music by night, letting both worlds shape who he is as an artist. His breakout album, If I Were the Devil, turned heads, and since then, he's made his Grand Ole Opry debut, toured the U.S., and shared the stage with names like Luke Combs and Turnpike Troubadours. No frills, just honest songwriting steeped in the wild. Today is his first time on SoFly. Colby, welcome to the show.
Hello. How are we doing, everybody? Thanks for having me on.
Dude, we're so excited to have you on.
Yeah.
Pleasure is all mine, man. Seriously, I'm stoked about this.
It is much appreciated. Colby, before we get into anything, I'm really curious. Usually we ask guests, do you remember your first fish on a fly rod? What it was?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's easy because the river I grew up on only had one fish really in it. But I grew up in the northern panhandle of Idaho and grew up fishing the Coeur d'Alene River there. And there are some rainbows and brooks in there, but for the most part, it is a completely wild native West Slope cutthroat stream. So I remember my very first trout on the fly there. Very specifically, I found an old fly rod in my basement, and I went out there with an old box of my grandfather's flies, and I just, standard practice, I saw an elk hair caddis in there. Had no idea what it was called. It was like the fuzzy brown one. Put it on, and I think I spent 12 hours trying to feed minnows dry flies, and I finally caught one, and I felt so awesome. You know how it is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great, man.
I still do that sometimes,
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time.
Oh, that rocks. Where are you calling us from? Okay, from Idaho, but where are you calling us from today? Where
I
are you
live
right
in
now?
Nashville now.
Makes sense.
Live in Nashville now, and but I go back to Idaho quite a bit to fish.
Love it. Okay, well, why don't we talk about that first? Like, how did you get into fishing in general? You mentioned your grandfather. Like, what was your foray into the kind of wilderness world like?
Well, I mean, to be honest, growing up in northern Idaho, that was kind of the thing. That was like going to the movies. It was going out to the woods.
Right.
There wasn't much else to do. But I will say, I think everybody, if you want to, I think having a healthy fishing addiction starts with you being a kid and plunking worms in a lake. I don't know of anybody who started, on a 12 weight for GTs, but I will say that growing up, I just always loved fishing and hunting, and my dad hunted a lot. My mom fished a lot. But neither of my parents were super big on fly fishing when I was a kid. So I grew up doing a ton of lake fishing, for bass and catfish and, kind of standard practice stuff, crappie fishing. But then my buddy in middle school, I was probably I would say I was 11 or 12. Him and his dad were super into fly fishing, and took me up on this river that I'd camped on my whole life, but grew up on the Coeur d'Alene River essentially, and started fly fishing, and I instantly got hooked on it. And basically from the time that my goal when I was in high school was to be a fly fishing guide. I didn't even think about music,
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah, I love that. So were you playing music at this point, just kind of for fun on the side?
Yeah, I'd always played. Funny enough, I had my very first band when I was about 11 as well, 10 or 11.
Oh, wow.
And I played my first bar when I was 11. So Been
What?
doing
No
it a long
way.
time. Oh yeah, dude. It is this bar in Coeur d'Alene. It's not there anymore, unfortunately, but it's called the 1210 Tavern. But everyone called it the 60/40. It was 60% smoke, 40% air. It's
Perfect place for an 11-year-old.
oh, dude. I mean, it was a great bar, and yeah. I mean, I was 11-year-old going home counting my tips, smelling like cigarettes.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
God, that's
My
amazing.
dad
So
got
funny.
me the gig, so I guess you can call it good parenting. But
True.
yeah, growing up there, I mean, especially at that point in time, like fly fishing, duck hunting, and playing in bars late night, and that was my life from probably like 12 years old till now, honestly.
Musically, who was like inspiring you at that time in your life?
Man, I think ever since I was a kid, anybody who one, I mean, anybody who's authentic is always really big for me, but truly anybody who's against the grain. I grew up listening to Waylon a ton. I mean, Waylon was one of my favorites. Waylon, Willie,
Mhm.
that the whole outlaw scene and that. Love CCR, a lot of early bluegrass stuff, Flat and Scruggs.
Yep.
There's just
Scruggs.
yeah, man. I mean, there's so much good music that I was fortunate enough that I grew up on. I mean, even like 50s rock and roll, Chuck Berry, Fats Domino. I mean, that whole scene was so cool.
Oh, Fats
Uh,
is love Fats.
oh, dude, yeah,
When you played your first show at 11 in a bar, is that were you the lead?
yeah. I mean, it was just me. I think.
Oh, it
Well,
was
no,
just you?
actually,
Okay,
it was
okay.
me and a guitar. Like I was playing guitar, and then I actually had this kind of like local harmonica player guy. He
Sick.
was with me. He's great. Still plays in my hometown today. He's great. And yeah, I don't remember a ton from that gig. I just remember being like, this is so sick.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm in a bar. But it later kind of backfired because when I was like in high school and college,
Yeah.
I couldn't get a fake because every bar in town
Right.
knew me since I was like 11. So they would know that I wasn't old enough to get in.
Get
Yeah.
out of here, Colby.
Yeah, they're like, come on, you're playing here Saturday. Get out of here.
Right.
That's
so
awesome.
funny.
So you had great musical inspiration. I mean, growing up in a place like that, you had some great fly fishing, mentors and people in your life. You said that maybe at that time music wasn't something you wanted to pursue as a profession, but fly fishing guiding was. How did that kind of transpire?
Well, I'm just dumb enough to where anything that I like to do as a hobby becomes my career. So, like, I'm not really good at turning things off. If I like it, I like it a lot, which can be a problem. But for the most part, I've, been pretty clean in my life and I've put it into this kind of stuff. And once I got into fly fishing, I mean, my senior year of high school, I missed 50 days of school because I was duck hunting and fly fishing.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's where it really became the thing. Like my senior thesis in high school was on a conservation project for the Coeur d'Alene River
That's amazing.
and on being a fly fishing guide as a career. That was the thing. I mean that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do it so bad. And Mike Beard was my outfitter once I got out of college and became a guide there in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And with the senior project I was doing, I worked in the shop part time and like learned a bunch of shop stuff and guide stuff and put that in the paper. So Mike was always a huge inspiration to me, as well as some other guides out of Montana, like Ben Hardy, Whitney Gould, just a few people that I was really lucky enough to encounter when I was a kid, just going over there and fishing for the first time or whatever. And those people inspired me to be a fly fishing guide, and they also pushed me into music as well. I still keep in contact with all those people, and I remember when music was taking off, I was full time guiding, and I had a really tough choice, honestly. I loved guiding, and the simplicity of guiding as far as your life is irreplaceable. Being out of service, 200 days out of the year versus what I would do now. Um, but all of them, said like this is what you should do. Do this. Like they've been monumental in a lot of parts of my life. So they're more than just a fly fishing mentor.
So you loved guiding. It wasn't a question of like, well, yeah, this is getting old. I got to do something else.
No, I mean like it was getting to the point where So I guided on the Coeur d'Alene for 3.5 years, I think. I wasn't in it like long enough to be tired of it, I think. Um, I was starting to feel like I wanted more water. I don't really know how else to describe it other than that. So
That makes
the
sense.
move was going to be like, all right, if I stay in guiding and kind of don't do music, I'll probably do like summers here in Coeur d'Alene, the walk and wade thing, and then maybe go down south and do saltwater in the winter. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, if I want to be this full time guide life situation, I'm going to be on the road or gone just as much as if I was a musician. And the serenity of guiding potentially could go out the window.
Yes.
And that does happen, and that's, once again, having these mentors, because at the time I'm like 23 or something trying to make this decision. I know nothing. So it's like pretty hard. And I had a really great sounding board, to kind of to riff off of there. And, I mean, I don't think there was a right or a wrong choice in it, to be honest. I'm happy with the choice I made.
For sure.
But man, there's a special thing about being a guide,
Totally. So was it scary jumping into music? How did you do that? Did you just go
Oh,
time
but
to
man,
make some albums?
yeah, well, so I'm not going to say it was a fluke, but I mean, I've been playing forever.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
by the time I got to college, when I went to college, we'd already had a couple good looks as like, a local opener. Me and this duo I was in, we'd open for like Josh Abbott and a couple other bands, nothing too crazy, but essentially we were getting some good looks locally, and we were 18,
Yeah.
And I decided to go to college and kind of hang it up. I kind of thought music is not for me. No one's ever gonna. This is also 2014, 2015. I was like, no one is gonna like the music that I like to play at the time. I don't know if you remember country music back then. It was kind of right in the midst of the bro country movement.
Totally. Yeah.
Feeling a little discouraged with what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd go get a business degree and pretty much just rely on either being a duck hunting guide or a fly fishing guide the rest of my life, or start a business or something. I was kind of, my whole life, I was kind of prepped for white collar is what I would say. My parents were in real estate. That was the thing.
That's the path you saw.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people saw that I was going to do.
I got you.
I think that was definitely the easy straw to grab, and nothing wrong with it. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell anybody when I got to college I played music at all. Like I didn't bring a guitar with me. I just like didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Did you go to college in Idaho?
Yeah, I went to University of Idaho. Proud Vandal here.
Okay.
But yeah, when I got to college, I spent my freshman, sophomore year just literally having the time of my life. I got to my junior year and I realized I was pretty broke. So I was like, well, I could go get a job at the bar, or I could, take that moneymaker out of the case and go make a few $100 a night at a coffee shop. Started playing, and that's really when it started to take off. We started getting the college crowd, started moving a lot of beer for businesses. They started wanting me to come back. Then all of a sudden, I was writing a lot more. And then I wrote the song called Moscow Drinking Team, which became kind of an anthem for U of I, which is kind of when everything changed.
Yeah.
And that was really around my senior year. And I was just me and a bass player, but we wanted to go to Montana and tour when I got out of college. So I said, well, if we're going to go on this tour, we have to have a record.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go on tour without a CD or something to sell. We're going to lose our ass.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to make any money. So that's when I cut Life of Rolling Stone. And it kind of happened out of like circumstance. And it just so happened I went to a bachelor party on the river that I was guiding on right after a trip. And a guy that I did not know who was there at the bachelor party just graduated from Belmont with an engineering degree. And he cut my first 3 records and is my steel player now.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, it's just the stars align on those, and kind of just the start of my career.
It's got to be a pretty cool feeling when you like you're kind of coming up and you're writing songs that your university is singing. It's becoming their anthem. People are, like gravitating towards what you're doing. I mean, that's got to feel pretty cool.
Dude, there is nothing like being 23. and that's and that's just what it is.
Oh my God.
You know, like
Yeah.
I'm relearning. I'm writing that coming out of my coming out of my 20s, I guess. I mean, I'm 28, going to be 29 in October, and I feel like turning 27 is such like a light switch of like,
Yeah.
you're no longer cool. Bang, there you go. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But you know, it's there's once again, I mean, just there's nothing like being young right out of college, and especially in music, like that feeling. It's amazing, and we get it in different ways now. You know, don't get me wrong, but dude, I mean, being young and drunk and playing college bars and thinking you're going to live forever is a pretty untangible feeling. It's amazing.
Again, to play music that you love, like you mentioned, you know, like writing songs that you want to write, and people are reciprocating that love for it. I mean, the energy in doing that must just be the best.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, and you know, it's the highest of highs. You know, being on stage and I mean, I think anybody truly the thing that you get is validation, which I think everybody, you know, I think everybody really wants validation all the time, you know, and that's the hard part with music, right? Is you put something out, you get super validated, it's awesome. You put something out, and it doesn't get validated, it sucks. And it's the
Right.
highs and lows, and it's just like anything, man. But it is truly the best feeling in the world when um, I can tell that the songs that I wrote are doing what they were intended for. You know, when they're helping people and people are enjoying them, and like it's a whole thing, and there's a crowd in front of you, and they want it. I mean, that's why you do it. You know, everything else is why we get paid. The 90 minutes on stage I do for free.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Such a good way to look at it. That's great. So you decide you're going to go into music. How does that start to unfold? You know, you kind of leave fly fishing guide behind, and then you're kind of moving into music full time. How's that transition?
Well, in the first year, we put out that first record, and I had 100 shows booked for the year. And we were supposed to leave like April 28th, I think, for Montana or whatever. And it was April 28th of 2020.
Oh wow.
So I'm sure you know what happens in this tale
In
of
this
tales.
scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like around April, I don't know, beginning of April, you know, my band's like, hey, we're getting shut down for sure. And I'm like, nah, man, I think they'll leave it open. I think we'll be able to go. And then sure as shit, you know, the whole thing's canceled. Everything's under. And I had already quit guiding.
Yeah.
I had
Right.
already told my outfitter, like, hey, I think I'm going to go try this music thing. And I called him back, you know, I'm like, hey, I really need a guide. And he's like, that's great because our other guide just got stuck in Fiji for the rest of the year. He can't get a
Oh.
flight out. So I got his book and mine and immediately went into 2020 as, you know,
Yeah.
effectively full time as much as I could guide, try to make some money.
Mhm.
And so once I went back into guiding, then I was there for a couple more years. But also in 2020 is when I wrote and made If I Were the Devil. So I ended up totally panning
Okay.
out and working out kind of for both worlds. I got a couple more years out of guiding, put out a record that kind of put me on the map, and
Yeah, for sure.
it unfolded quickly. If I had to be honest, like
Yeah.
this is my this is my 6th year releasing music. It's my 3rd year in Nashville, and it's my uh, 4th year doing it full time.
Wow.
So
Okay.
like
Yeah.
Got it.
there was a lot of, you know, it's messy along the way, but
Well,
it
yeah,
happens quick.
COVID definitely didn't help that, but yeah, I imagine once it does happen, it happens pretty quick. Were you guiding and writing If I Were the Devil at the same time?
Yeah, I mean that's like Dying Breed, like that
Yeah.
song comes straight out of like the life that I was living. I mean,
Mhm.
That was
the
kind of my next. That was kind of my next question.
yeah,
That's a
it's like,
perfect.
I mean, I remember like, I mean, I tell this story live all the time, but when I was guiding, there's a gas station right by my house I go to every single morning. And like literally the exact same gas station attendant was working there every day. And I
Yeah.
get there at 5 and like she'd have, you know, my 2 bags of ice, a can of Copenhagen, Slim Jim, like a Gatorade and a cup of coffee, just like sitting on the counter. Like I
You're
ordered it
like,
every day,
hey.
you know? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, here to pick up my
Yeah.
shit, here's the money, I'm gone, you know? And so that's like the Charlene character from Dying Breed. And I mean, you know, I just like get off the river, have a couple beers, go to
Yeah.
bed, wake up at 5, put the same clothes on I've been wearing for the last 60 days in a row,
Yeah.
I mean, it was the life I was leading at the time, and that record is just that record does a great job of definitely. It's like a time capsule for me. I can go back and listen to "If I Were the Devil," and I'm like, oh, I remember what that was like now.
No, for real. So the
Do you
protest.
see?
Oh,
Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Mitch.
Sorry. No,
No,
Aldo,
please.
please. No, please.
Oh, I was just saying said something interesting that I thought of just right
Yeah.
now. Do you see that diner worker as part of that dying breed in your
Mm.
head? Like, was that an intentional moment putting her in the song? Like, you're seeing it from your perspective, like, oh yeah, I'm showing up, grabbing some cigarettes, and I do it so often that they just know. But in a way, that diner is also, I think anyway, at least around our
Oh,
parts,
for
kind of
sure,
like a
yeah.
dying thing, you know?
Well, and it's so funny because like I wrote "Dying Breed" from my perspective, feeling like I was so alone in the world as a 23-year-old who felt like I was an old soul, and it
Mm,
became a song that like a lot of people have attached to. Because I always say like, if you know "If I Were the Devil," you're
Mm.
probably an "If I Were the Devil" fan. But if you know "Dying Breed," you're a Colby Acuff fan.
Right.
Like
got it.
I can tell at the show, the fan, like the Colby Acuff fans are the ones holding up the sign that says "Play Dying Breed."
Got it.
You know, um, and that's kind of been, for our fans, that's kind of I feel like their anthem. I mean, obviously they like "If I Were the Devil" too. Don't get me wrong, but they know more of the catalog, and that song is kind of I feel like really encapsulates the fan base better. Um, and yeah, I mean, I've definitely that song. I feel like um, it kind of cultivated a fan base for me.
Right.
Is what I would say, which is great. I mean, that's what the song is meant to do.
I mean, it speaks of like, it is you in a song, like
Totally.
it's
Yes.
your, it's how you grew up, not only obviously playing music, but like, but guiding. And honestly, and speaks of like where you're from too. Like Idaho's a very outdoorsy place.
Oh, very
It's a
much.
place steeped in fly fishing lore, and so, well, it kind of is, it's a very fly fishy place. So yeah, it's, you can see how, I think at the top of the interview you're saying like, it's like some sort of search or connective, like connected to some sort of authenticity. And I think that's maybe that authenticity you find in that song, because
Yeah.
it's about you, and it's because,
Well,
if
you
I was
can.
to say what's authentic about Colby, it would probably be that song. And you know because of
Oh,
your
for
whole
sure.
life.
Well, and I mean, authenticity is easy to find because you find it in honesty.
Right.
But honesty, for some reason, is hard for people. And I feel like a lot of people, especially in music, it's tough because I mean, I get it. You move to this town and it's like, well, here I wrote this song about this thing that's very personal to me, and you play it for somebody, and they're like,
Eh.
yeah, it's great, but like it's not going to sell. So
Right.
like, here's what you need to be to sell, and then they're like, whoa, but then they buy in because they do that one time, and it hits, and then they're like, this is me now.
Right.
I can't do that. It's not really wired in me to do it that way. When people tell me what to do, I usually do the exact opposite, whether it hurts me or helps me. Um, and that's a lot of Idaho in me right there. I mean, that's the
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, it's once again, authenticity is found within honesty. And I just think for me, like, I just come from like a very, I mean, I just come from like a very honest place. Like, if
Yeah.
you can't really get away with that where I'm from, So
It's tough though. Like I know what you mean. Like being in Nashville and having those pressures of, well, now you're in the business and you've had success. It's like, do I listen to that? Like, if I do it this formula way, if I go about it this way, maybe I'll hit that success even more. It's difficult to push up against that. No.
sure. I mean, there's layers to it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, this town is it's just a big game. I mean, it's like anything, a lot of
Yeah.
politics, a lot of everything. It's probably better than it used to be here, but
Hmm.
it's also, things change all the time. And I think right now we're seeing a little bit of change in Nashville.
Yeah.
I'd say it's kind of going the opposite way that I'd like to see it go.
Yeah.
But that's all right. That's why there's artists like me, and
Yeah.
and I'm not alone. Don't get me wrong. There's a great movement over here for things that are kind of a counterculture to downtown or Music Row, And, to be fair, like there's plenty of music row artists that I really love and respect.
Sure.
Totally.
But yeah, for the most part, there's a lot of stuff that I do not agree with. That's kind of, I left my label in December, and I'm striking it out kind of by myself again. And I'm not saying I wouldn't sign with another label at some point, but for right now, this is definitely the move.
See, but that's fucking cool. I
I
and that's
agree.
what
Mitch is a bit punk rock too, so just
that's fucking cool.
You're,
and that's what all those musicians that
Yeah.
you looked up to at one point in time, or the country music that came before, had the same kind of attitude. And it's great that that's kind of coming back.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing because it's it's just like anything. History always repeats itself, and it's there's about like every 5 years something happens, and it's usually like when society has something happen to it, then you get like a really great blossom of like musical kind of like renaissance, where a lot of the real stuff kind of breaks out because people really need music. They're not just like passively going through it. And you get a lot of great stuff. And then that raw stuff usually outruns the labels for a little while. But the labels, I mean, the one thing that they're really good at is they're really good at making money. And if they're not making money, they got to solve that problem. So by the time the labels catch up, then they get to catch up and kind of play. They get to hold it for a little while longer.
Yeah.
And then something else will happen and it'll resurge again and it'll be amazing. And then, kind of suction back down a little bit. It's just ebbs and flows of music, And there's enough space for everybody right now. That's the thing that I think I love the most about making music modern day is that, even like back in the outlaw era and like when I thought best music was made, in my personal opinion, is like in the 70s.
Yeah.
Even then, I mean, dude, they'd sign like 6 artists a year.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, shit, they're signing 60,
Right.
So it's a lot different. And it seems to me like it's a good thing overall.
And you can get yourself out there yourself more than ever, right? Like, which is, I assume, pretty cool, right?
It's the best. Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't feel like me being independent is a huge hindrance.
No,
I actually feel like it's very freeing. I feel like it's not just me. Obviously, I have a freaking amazing team behind me, and yeah, man. I mean, they're releasing a ton of other artists' music right now, and it's absolutely crushing. So there is the competition space on the business side of it. I think is really healthy. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. 2-part question. Aldo, do you have a question?
Oh,
you were charging up. You were doing.
No. No, please go.
Because I got a 2-parter. One is, first, what are you most excited about in the music scene right now?
Mm-hmm.
And 2, what are you most excited about in the fly fishing scene right now?
Amazing. So in the music scene right now, I guess what I am excited about more than anything is that I feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword here. I think right now we're in one of those flows where the labels are catching up a little bit and they're in a little bit more control. But usually what that means is that when the industry is moving towards singularity, that usually means that that's going to give someone like me a really good opportunity to then have another, something that I get to have a little bit more artist flair with it and can kind of, go back into some of that more like outlaw-y move. Which is always exciting for me. I think in the music industry itself, as far as like bands and acts go, there are so many amazing bands and acts right now. And I'm so excited for kind of anything that's in like that alt space, little left to center, kind of the real stuff and was what I would call it. Anything for that to kind of shine through is always, for me, the best. In fly fishing right now, I mean, I think I'm excited about a couple things. I am excited that fly fishing is getting a moment. I know like it's been a while now. I mean, it's probably been 10 years or so that fly fishing has had a moment, I guess. But I'm just excited that fly fishing is cool because I remember when it wasn't and I was doing it and people were like, that is so lame. Why don't you just go rip lips with Cincos?
Totally.
Other people in Idaho were saying that?
Dude, Idaho, I mean, like Brandon Palaniuk won the Bassmaster 5 times. He's
I guess
from
that's
Coeur
true.
d'Alene,
My bad.
you know? I mean, and I
Right.
love Brandon. I love Brandon.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, Coeur d'Alene Lake is in the top 100 for smallmouth bass fisheries in the country. Like,
Yeah.
big bass fishing town, big gear fishing town, to be honest. We got
Yeah.
lake salmon and stuff, but with it, there's a big fly fishing community as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just excited, I guess, that it is cool. And it kind of, you know, once again, like for me, I know we haven't brought this up yet, but I'm starting like my own little fly fishing film situation.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's not out yet, but it comes out in June or whatever. But it's called Fin and Feather. It's a duck hunting and fly fishing kind of film docuseries.
I love that name.
Passion project of mine. And I think it comes from another thing. Like, it's funny how things work this way in parallel. But I would say, and I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but I would say that in fly fishing and hunting, we have, I'm going to call it a culture problem, but I don't think it's a culture problem, but it's like this whole thing of like, man, we kind of lost the plot a little bit. Like, the reason why you go fishing is the same reason why you dunked worms when you were a kid,
Yeah.
because you love it, because there's a rush when you catch a fish. And it's also like to kind of spend time outside and like with your friends or whatever that nostalgic feeling is. But I'll tell you what, it's definitely not. It is definitely not about like sitting on a red, catching a 32-inch brown for the 1 second photo and manhandling it and, you
Yeah.
know, gill plating it and whatever the
Yep.
hell you're doing to have 10 likes on an Instagram post and someone think you're decent at fishing.
Yeah.
Like, I've never truly gotten that, but it seems to me like that is hitting a pretty good pinnacle right now. And so for me, like, once again, it's cool that fly fishing is cool, because I get to make this project that is basically deeply rooted in the guides and outfitters that use those resources every single day, the conservation of that area, the like science, a little bit of that area. But you know, it's all about the people, the resource, like why we like it. And I feel like people have completely forgot why we like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Are the episodes are they filmed all over the states, or is it focused in the West? Or
No, they're all over. Our very first
cool.
episode actually was in Arkansas on the White.
Mm.
Our second episode, we're going over to Bristol, Johnson City area. Going to do the Holston. We have an episode on my home water. We're going to do the Coeur d'Alene River.
You got to.
We're doing Montana. We're going to go up to Boston and fish for stripers. And
Love
you know,
that.
hopefully many more. I mean, like next season, I'm hoping we can, you know, maybe go get some permit bonefish, saltwater stuff. I have a bucket list of shit that I want to go do and catch.
Oh, I bet.
So,
Yeah.
you know, Amazon, whatever we can go do, I'm in.
Yeah. No, the Amazon would be wild.
Oh my God,
Dude, I want to do it so bad.
Always wanted to do that. Amazon, man.
I want to do it so bad. Dorado, vampire fish. I mean, like
peacocks.
Peacock would be
Peacocks
sick.
so sweet.
I want to do the Dorado thing so bad.
Oh man, I know. Same. Such a cool looking fish.
Man, have you guys ever seen that one film? It's called El Capitan.
Yes.
Jesus, that is on my bucket list, but like that's almost a death sentence. Just getting dropped straight into the heart of Africa and just like whatever happens. But
good luck.
200-pound Nile Perch. I mean, dude, even
man.
the small ones, like they look awesome. They rip.
I know.
It'd be like real like Heart of Darkness stuff, you know?
I mean, you got to catch them at night.
Yep.
But you can catch tiger fish during the day. Like, I mean, it just seems awesome.
I had a chance to go Nile Perch fishing a couple of years ago. I almost went to Egypt and was going to fish Nile Perch. And I was like pretty stoked about it because those things were crazy looking. That's something we got to go do, although.
I want to do it so bad, dude. Especially like in the video when they're fishing for him. He's like, yeah, you can just hear him feeding because they like open up their mouth and they make like that negative pressure. It's just like, oh my God. It sounds so sick, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the absence of sound or something. Almost like when you hear a grouse, you know, thumping. You're like, it's not sound. It is, but it's almost like, it's the absence of sound. It's like a sucking
so
sound.
Cool, man. So there's a ton of stuff that I would love to kind of feature on this. But once again, like so much of it is like I kind of how I'm marketing it too is like if you DM me and you're like, hey, I'm a guide, I'm a young guide on this river that, like we've faced these problems. And like if it is a resource that is struggling, it's almost kind of something that I want to highlight even more than a resource that's like doing so well. But what I'm finding from this too is like even resources that are incredible, there's still huge problems with them. And yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. I think for me too, what I do like about it is I'm not tied to anything in a fishing or hunting politics way.
Right.
So if I do go somewhere and I'm like, oh, this is a problem, I'm going to probably say that this is a problem.
Yeah, you don't have to shy around it.
Right. Which, I totally understand why some people do. And I
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of get why the spiral occurs. It's like,
Yeah.
we have to post big fish on our outfitting page or else people aren't going to
Most
want
people
to
won't
go with
book.
us.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that I do really love about this series when we're highlighting guides and outfitters and resources, and specifically like me, I'm such a side character. I mean, for me, huge perk. I get to go fish for 2 to 4 days.
Yes.
And I don't have to sit like the guide is kind of the whole main character anyway. I get like a final thought at the end, but I'm like a producer and like an extra essentially.
Right.
But letting them kind of tell it through their eyes. Another goal for this is to really bridge that gap of expectation between client and guide. I mean, it has gotten so bad, and it was bad when I was guiding.
Yeah. People
You go down
expecting.
to and this is not me dogging on this
Sure, yeah, of
fishery, but
course.
like, man, you go. I have clients all the time. Like they come up to Idaho to catch a trophy cutthroat, and
Right.
they're from wherever the hell they're from.
Yeah.
And they're
Let's
like,
just say Toronto.
that's actually so funny. I was going to say Toronto. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Always Tronans.
but they're like, oh man, like we went down to Georgia
Yeah.
and we caught these rainbows. They're like 15 pounds. And they show me these photos of these nuclear fish that look like they've been baked in a 3D printer. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, dude, awesome. And then they're like, yeah, and then we went over to, we went to Colorado, we fished the blue, caught these
Yeah.
huge rainbows. I'm like, guys, this is a wild native cutthroat. Like,
Yeah.
if you caught a cutthroat that was 6 pounds,
Yeah.
I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if we catch one that's 18 inches, that's a huge fish for over here. Like,
Yeah.
and you just watch people catch a fish that is so nice and beautiful and has millions of years of genealogy and
Oh, yeah.
survived mercury from the mines and like all this shit. And they
Yeah.
look at it and they go,
Oh, that's
you want a photo with that
unbelievable.
fish? No. Great.
It's crazy.
I'm going to go fuck myself.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you see that a lot, like sort of honestly what I would call a bit of a disrespect for the fish.
It's for the resource. It's everything, because it's like we've gotten out, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like we have, as a society, it's just like it has to be instant gratification on a massive scale, and really everything that goes into it is just kind of, whatever it is, it's fine. But it shouldn't be that way. And and by the way, I'm going to say this as well. Most every client is pretty much awesome.
Of course, yeah.
But if there's 3% that are like that,
Yeah.
it's still not,
Sticks with you.
It's not good, and it's not good to know that those guys are also the same people that are probably doing a lot of guide trips a year. They're going to a lot of places. They have a lot of feathers in their cap.
Yeah.
And, that's not what a guide wants. And so if this series can kind of bridge that gap a little bit to manage expectations, and, your guide can only control so many things. It's not like, he's not putting that fish in that spot for you.
Yeah.
Like, the fish is a third party living thing. Like, it's, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is something so great about, we're friends with a lot of the guides around here, obviously, and around the world. And, you hear about their stories about like great stories of, lifelong relationships with people, and you see them like grow and learn as anglers, and maybe you both grow in a weird way old together.
Yeah.
And then Mitch just worked on a project called Muskie Man for Alumacraft, and there's a moment like that in that film. where it's like, oh, the guide's getting kind of old. His client's older, but
Yeah.
they're both not young, and it's like, but when the whole thing started, they were, and it's kind of interesting, to see the passing of time through that relationship, because it's like, especially if you don't live in the same place, already you're friends, but maybe you're not really friends,
Yeah.
But if you
You're a
don't live in the
client
place,
guide. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. If you don't live in the place, you're definitely not friends, but you see each other, often enough and in such an intimate way that, like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. And you develop that relationship. And then, of course, like you said, you have a guy that's like, why aren't we catching anything?
Oh,
Or
geez.
like, or
Dude,
whatever.
I've had them all. I took one guy, father and son. They come in the shop, and I had the next day off. I guided 47 days in a row the next day off. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to just like do nothing the next day. This father son walks in. Like, we want a guide trip tomorrow. Everyone else is booked. I'm the only free one. I'm like, I'll take him. It's supposed to be like 102 degrees, just some hot day in August. It's gonna fish like
miserable,
shit, We're gonna
Yeah.
get there at
Yeah.
5 a.m. And they're like, well, we want waders. I'm like, well, trust me, you're not gonna need them. It's gonna be really hot. And he goes, yeah, but what if we take a photo? I'm like, well, what if you do? He's like, well, we want to be wearing waders. We want to look the part. And right then, I was like, God damn it, this is going to be so much worse than my day off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
This is gonna
really,
suck.
really wish I took that day
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. So they did. I mean, they wore waders. They took a photo in their waders. Guy tipped me
Yeah.
$20.
Oh man.
Incredible day on the water.
Yeah. It's one for the books.
Yeah, for sure.
Man. But, like you say, although on the flip side, having people that share an appreciation for places and rivers that are from such different places, I think that's what's cool about the series you're doing, like shining a light on, yeah, it's a cool fishery, but it needs help. And I think that's very important because it's sort of a theme around the world, like,
Oh yeah.
No matter, that's one,
I mean,
yeah.
connecting thread between all of our fisheries is that us here in the Greater Toronto area, you in Nashville, you in Idaho, all of our friends all over the States and across Canada. There's one person we talked to, they're like,
Everything's
things
good.
are going great.
well, to be fair though, like,
they're better, but
the Coeur d'Alene River, man, when I was a kid, it
Mm.
was terrible. They essentially, the Coeur d'Alene River was stripped of all of its structure because they were running logs down it
Right.
from the 50s all the way through the 90s. And it was a lumber town. I mean, I get it. That was the thing.
Mhm.
And on the other side, the South Fork, it was all the shit coming out of the mines. So
Oh,
lead
man.
and mercury, I mean, and all the logs stripped. And basically around I don't know, maybe 2008 to 2010 or something in there, they kind of went after it and they said, we're going to lose these cutthroat if we don't, because they already killed all the bull trout.
right.
Oh man.
So, well, all the bull trout died and it was really sad, but it made
Yeah.
the cutthroat apex.
Right.
Right.
So if you're going to go to anywhere and you're going to pull out some like heinous West Slope, that's the best place to go. But anyway, they stripped all of it, and then they were like, well, you know what? No, we're going into this hardcore conservation. You can't keep cutthroat anymore. It's got to be fly from here up. Like the whole upper half of the river is all fly only, no
wow.
live bait. They completely brought the river back, restructured it. Like they built, rapids and oxygen stuff and
Nice.
trying to keep water temps down.
Yeah.
It's a total success story.
That's
2020 was one of the best fishing years I've ever seen on any river.
Wow.
But it's funny because then I go to the White, and the White, I think the White River could potentially be, like, hands down, could be the best trout fishery in America, maybe besides Alaska. I'd say lower 48.
Right.
And it just, if they did a couple things, it would be untouchable.
Right.
But
fish are huge.
well, and there's just so many.
Many
I
of
mean,
them.
like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude. We fished 4 days. We boated 50, 60 fish a day. And it was the worst. The guide's like, this is the worst conditions we've had all year. Like, I just can't believe that we're just not in the thing that I want to be. I'm sitting there, like, we caught them on dry streamers, nymphs. I mean, you're driving up the river and there's just fish swimming everywhere. It's like a goddamn aquarium. But they have some huge problems. Like, to be honest, the way that it's dammed, and they use the dam for power. And so like they just started this like 20 years ago, but it used to be way worse. They have a minimum flow now. Their
Right.
minimum flow is like 650 CFS, and they will bump it to 10,000 in a day.
That's insane.
So like it can be, it'll go from 10,000 and 5 days later it'll be 650, and then it'll get back up to 10,000. There's no like
regulation.
If they get a bunch of rain, then they can run it a ton, but then you're just at like 15,000 or 20,000. And so they're having problems with, banks. Obviously,
erosion.
I mean, it's got to affect the reds to some degree.
Of course, yeah.
But they also, I mean, that river, by all intents and purposes, that river is made and used as a catch and keep river. I mean, that is what they do there. And fly fishing to bait fishermen, you're outnumbered 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so a lot of bait boats. And, here's the other thing. My whole MO is not to say that fly fishing is better, so you have to fly fish. I just wish there was a world where they could get along and play nice together, but it seems like there isn't. And on that river specifically, I think they mind each other. But I don't think that one thinks the other one is, old fashioned. The other one thinks the other one is lame and, not worth the time. But yeah, I think if that river, if they quit stocking rainbows, change their catch and keep, or at least where they have catch and release sanctioned. I mean, there's 92 miles on that river. Only 2 miles of it's designated catch and keep or catch and release.
Wow, only 2 miles.
Yeah, so they're running into some, in my opinion, they're running into some issues there, and a lot of fishermen just pump more fish into it. They could have a wild resource there easily, though, and those browns, they're just gorgeous, man. They're awesome.
See, it's an interesting thing because it's like, what does it take to get people to, get on the same page about what is right and what is wrong? I mean, there's got to be some kind of middle ground, right? And then how do you inspire people? Like Coeur d'Alene, for example, was that a community kind of like thing? Like, what did it take for them to rehabilitate the river?
Well, I think the problem is that Idaho's biggest resource is its outdoors.
Right.
So like elk tags, deer tags, fishing, those are probably the biggest three. And in Coeur d'Alene, specifically northern Idaho, fly fishing was getting big enough, I think, to bringing enough money to where the fly fishermen were like, hey, why does our river suck? Like, what is happening?
Right.
And why can I drive, when I'm driving up the river, I can see people with a 5-gallon bucket full of 12-inch cutthroat, and they're dunking worms, and I'm trying to fish this caddis, and like, nothing's swinging, and like, it's just, so I think there was some concerns raised, and probably they did a test on the fishery, and they were probably low on fish, also due to low water in August, hot temps in July and August.
Yeah.
Probably starting to lose fish. I'm not exactly 100% sure what really got it going.
Yeah.
Once they got it going, though, they did a great job. And I will say this, I'm a bit harsh on most states' fish and game.
Yeah.
You got to get through the bureaucracy of it all, and there's a lot of it. But I will give them credit on that one. They did good there. And they even brought in, they did another thing, which at the time I was really not excited about it, but it worked out great. We had a problem with gypsy moths. So like we had gypsy moths and bark beetles that were killing trees. And we had fire. And then it just, the whole thing was fucked. So they brought in these little parasitic wasps to kill the gypsy moth caterpillars. And the side effect of those parasitic wasps was that those cutthroat just gorge on them. They cannot get enough of them.
Oh, wow.
So like in September, and no one can figure out what they're eating because they're one, you got to know that the Fish and Game came in and put these things in there. And like, that's kind of already not a lot of people know it, but two, they're like this big. They're little tiny larvae and they eat the caterpillar alive.
Wow. And
so you'll see these gypsy moth caterpillars, they're the red and black ones, and they're like squirming on the water floating down the river.
Yeah.
And they're just getting eaten alive.
Fish are just going nuts.
but the fish aren't eating those caterpillars because they have little like little
yeah,
poisonous whatever. They're
yeah,
not poisonous, but they're like
something irritating.
kind of give you like a little rash.
Yeah,
And so everyone puts on like a bitch creek and throws that out there because they're like
yeah,
orange and red or orange
yeah.
and black. But what they're eating is like a size 20 or 22, like little tiny
little
wasp. And they don't even care. I mean, you can be standing there, they'll be boiling all around you. I mean, it's crazy.
That's wild.
So it worked out. I mean, so I got to give Fish and Game and the people who worked on the Coeur d'Alene River a ton of credit because they really brought it back. And it's, in my opinion, it's the best West Slope cutthroat fishery for catching biologically the largest cutthroat you can get. So,
well, that's awesome.
It's great to hear success stories like that, and like just I think that's a good thing. I think there is hope for the future, especially if we keep doing stuff,
Yeah, and I think more and more people like bringing attention to stuff. Like that's all it really takes,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like look at the Captains for Clean Water guys. It's relentless.
Yeah, no, it's great, man.
I mean, that's what it takes. It takes that kind of energy for sure. But
yeah,
it's either that or you lose the resource.
Totally, yeah. And once that's the big problem.
Imagine Idaho with no trout, Florida with no tarpon.
It's gone. Yeah. It's gone. I mean, once it gets to a certain breaking point of going past that line, you just want to get it before that happens, and because once that happens, I mean, you're screwed. I'm actually shocked that Coeur d'Alene didn't hit that pinnacle, if I'm being 100% honest.
That's wild.
Well, it's great that it didn't.
Oh, dude, it's a great river. If you guys ever get over there, definitely fish it.
Oh, I want to check it out now. It sounded super good.
In general, we have to do Idaho. It's one of the we've been to a lot of states, but that's not one that we've been to.
Oh, dude, it's so much fun. Anytime if you guys go, let me know. I'll
give
give you some advice.
Oh man, or maybe we could fish together.
I mean, that would be awesome. I'd be super into that.
Are you touring Canada at all?
Not this year. We've been up a couple times.
Because I was going to say, if you're coming to Toronto, brother.
Yeah, no, I mean, if
get you on the drift boat,
I'll let you know. Let's do it. Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah,
maybe we should just plan a 2026 like fin and feather episode with you guys. That'd be fun.
That'd be super fun.
So sick.
That'd be fun. We could get you on the drift boat, or we could go slam some bass, pike, muskie.
Yeah,
we got
pike muskie would be sick, dude. I would love to do a pike.
Okay,
muskie.
well there we go.
I'm a steelhead fisherman, so I got the patience for that shit.
There's a lot of pike up here, brother.
There's a lot of pike. There's a lot of muskie up here.
I'd love to do that. That's a bucket list of mine. So I'd be super.
Okay, sick.
I love it.
Well, there we go. Can't promise the muskie, but I can almost promise the pike.
Hey, you can promise me nothing. I mean, I don't care.
We'll promise you pike.
Yeah.
Okay, is it time? Mitchs Fishies?
Yes, I think so.
We have a segment in the show, Colby. We ask the same 5 questions to every guest at the end of the show called Mitchs Fishies 5, and we're going to ask them to you now.
Perfect.
Kind of just fun, final fly fishing question. So the first one is, what is your favorite fish and why? If you had to pick a favorite fish, what would it be?
Oh, it's so hard. It's a big battle between the West Slope cutthroat, just because it's like that is such the fish for me that I spent so much time living and working with those fish, and I just love them. They're so forgiving, but so finicky. I love them. And then I love just a big, dumb brown trout. Like, they're hard to beat. Well, I don't know. Maybe actually a steelhead might actually take the cake. Yeah. I hate them so much. But I actually think I am going to go with the steelhead. I've spent so much time cursing them, but also like when you catch a big bee run out of the clear water or the snake, I mean, I'm like shaking. I mean, it's impossible to replace that feeling. But I'd say those 3. I really like those 3.
It's tough to pick, but I like that steelhead because they're something so special about when you land it.
I mean, it's catching a dinosaur, man. There's just nothing like it.
Yeah, I feel you. Number 2 is, if you could fish anywhere in the world right now, where would you go and why? Assuming it's going to be like amazing conditions.
Yeah. Okay. So I would go. God, I have so many bucket lists. I think though the one that I would do, probably because I'll never be able to do it now, is I would go to like southern Russia or Mongolia and do the Taimen thing.
It'd be so cool, man.
It's really unfortunate because I essentially, like right before COVID, I had a plan that I was going to go over to Kamchatka and do that whole ordeal. But then obviously that situation over there, like it could be bad enough to where, we might not ever be able to go do that in my lifetime, at least. But that's something that I've always dreamed of doing, is going to that part of the world. It's also something crazy, like going to an area in the world where like essentially a handful of people have been in.
Yeah,
It's so wild, man. And catching like a 6 foot trout, it's
yeah.
just so sick.
That's crazy. Those fish are crazy. They're
They're
the
so
coolest
cool,
thing.
man. So yeah, I'd say timing probably.
Oh man, love it. Timing are amazing. Okay, number 3 is, what is one of your best or favorite fishing memories from all time? If you had to pick one best.
Oh man. Um, Probably, I don't know, this is a little bit more of a selfish one, but it's kind of funny. I mean,
Mm.
obviously, like I have fishing memories like when I was a kid that are
Yeah.
irreplaceable, but I remember the day that I kind of knew I was gonna probably get out of guiding. And so on my birthday, I went up to the Coeur d'Alene in the fall, which is the best time to fish up there, if you ask me, May and fall, like spring and fall.
Mm.
And I hook into this monster fish. And I think it's a salmon, to be honest. Like it's just like got me pinned, and like it's pretty rare that a cutthroat pins a 6 weight, and like I can't move the fish.
Right.
So I'm like, maybe it's a salmon, I don't know. And I get it up, and I see the flash, just this monster cutthroat. He dives back down, and he turns his head, pops off, gone. And I'm like, okay, I've
No.
caught a lot of big fish on this river. That was definitely the biggest one I've ever seen. And I was like, all right, well, I think I'm just gonna catalog this and go home. So I got back in my truck. I took the streamer off, put it
Yeah.
in the visor of my car, wrote
Mhm.
down the water conditions. I mean, I knew what day it was because it was my birthday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I waited a whole year on my birthday the next year, same water conditions. I took the fly out of the visor,
Oh my
went
God.
down, I caught the fish. Like I caught a huge fish. I can't say it's the same fish. I have no idea, but I caught my biggest
99.9%.
I caught the biggest fish that I've ever caught on that river
Oh
that day. It's the
man.
exact same situation. And I remember letting him go and just almost, I didn't, it wasn't the day that I thought I was going to quit guiding. It was the day that I finally felt like I had accomplished
Yeah.
the Coeur d'Alene River, where I feel like I had caught all different kinds of fish. I had caught, really cool fish. I've caught big fish. I caught them at night. I've caught them in the morning. I did all these
Mhm.
things. And finally I put my hands on this like huge, huge redemption fish
Yeah.
for me. And I just was like, man, I just
Yeah.
felt so good and like capable of where I
Yeah.
was at that point. So I always think about that fish because that's kind of the fish that I caught that also was like, it's okay. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
You can leave us. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah. Yeah.
rocks. I love
Yeah.
that. I love the taking the journal thing. I feel like that's a lost
Yeah.
the
dude, it's
river
just,
journal
I'm
thing.
going to say this. This is a little bit controversial. But the thing that I never understood was when someone became a guide, that was the pinnacle of it. Like they got their guiding license and they're like, I did it. It's like, no,
Right.
no, no, no. It's not cool to be a guide. It's
Yeah.
cool to be a good guide.
Yeah.
It's cool to be a good angler and care, but
Yeah.
it's not enough to just be a guide.
Yeah.
No.
Like those people show up and rely on you. And if you don't feel that pressure to some degree, I
Yeah.
feel like that is a red flag,
Yeah.
to be
Totally.
honest.
No,
Yeah.
for
Yeah. You
sure.
can't
Yeah.
hang it up. That's when you got to start. Really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you've just begun. Like
Yeah, the
another
passion's got to
echelon.
be there, And I
Yeah.
get it. Some days are tough, and like, it can't be there all the time. But in
Sure. Of
general,
course.
like, if you get a day off
Yeah.
and fishing's tough,
Yeah.
you got a trip the next day. You should probably be on the water,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
figuring it out.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I like that. Okay. Number 4 is, why do you fly fish? Keeps you going back out there.
Man, I mean, I think for me, it truly is just like, for me, fly fishing is the best riddle that's never had a solution. And I love problem solving. That is like literally every job I've ever had is just a problem
Yeah.
solver thing.
Hmm.
I love just the never ending well of knowledge that you can pull from it. You can always learn something new in fly fishing. And truly, like I use it, I need it so bad because it's one of the only ways for me to like turn my brain off, focus on one thing at a time, and just kind of, move it pace by pace and kind of take the day for what it is.
Right.
I'm totally addicted with the feeling of just, being there.
Yeah. Yeah. Figuring it out. I feel you.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, number 5, and the last of Mitch's Fishies 5 is what fly pattern best represents you and why? If you were a fly, what would you be?
Not your favorite
Oh.
fly.
Yeah.
Not the one you use the most. It's
I love
Colby was a
this.
fly. I'm interested in this answer very much so.
Okay,
It's a tough one.
I'm gonna go with an orange stimulator.
Oh, I love it.
Nice.
I'm fairly generic as a person. And I'm not everyone's first choice all the time. And I'm a little old fashioned, but I will get eaten. It will work. I promise.
I like that. I like that.
I mean, I love that fucking fly, man.
Yeah, it's a great
It's great.
That's
I
such a
just feel
good
like
fly.
it's been so replaced by the chubby.
Totally.
Which, and dude, I totally get it. I mean, the
Yeah.
chubby can float a tungsten head like
It'll come back.
bug.
It'll come back.
It'll
Oh,
come
for
back.
sure.
A lot
Yeah.
of our rivers are, for what it's worth, here in Southern Ontario, a lot of our rivers are, at least the troutiest ones, are single fly
Interesting.
barbless only. So the stimmy is alive and well in a lot of them because
Yeah,
we have a lot.
dude.
We have a lot of stoneflies here, and
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah, I love the stimulator.
I
man.
love stimmies, man. And I grew up fishing
Yeah.
a lot of those. I also love a fly I feel like that never gets talked about that is such a good attractor pattern is the yellow humpy. I feel like
Oh, true,
yellow
eh?
humpy has been deleted from existence, man. I can't even find them anymore. And I'm like, dude, and they were such a great fly. I love that attractor pattern.
It's funny you say that. I have these flies in my life. I asked this question to people, and maybe I'll ask this to you. I have these flies that I know catch fish in our lives, yellow humpy,
Yeah.
but it's never worked for me, no matter
Yeah.
how many thousands of times I've tried. And you just like, it's a good fly, and you know that for all intents and purposes, it should work. Do you have one like 5.5 on the Mitchs Fishies 5 scale? Do you have a fly? Is there a legendary fly that has never worked for you?
Yes, and it's a big one where I'm from. It's the purple haze.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Mitch loves that fly. It's Mitch's favorite fly.
I know,
man.
and it's funny, man, because for some reason, like purple and me just do not hang.
Okay.
And it's so weird because, dude, I will be fishing with somebody.
Yeah.
They got like a purple French nymph and a purple chubby, or they're fishing a purple haze all day, and it's just absolutely crushing.
Yeah.
And I'll be fishing like a similar thing, like maybe it's just like a pheasant tail cripple with
Yeah.
the same situation, or like a royal chubby. I mean, I love royal. Royal's just been
Yes. Royal
love
Wolf.
Royal.
Big fan.
Yeah, I love royal, and I love female Adams. Like those flies, traditional sense, like
Yes.
they've always worked great for me. And I know a lot of people who don't like them for the same reason. But yeah, for some reason, the purple haze thing for me it has never
That's awesome.
connected
That's awesome.
as much.
That's a great
So,
answer.
you know,
I
Well, I
love
like
it.
they
the,
all
I,
work. They all
I like
work
the
and they all
yellow.
don't, you know.
The yellow humpy shout out's cool too. Because
I've
you're
never
right, man.
caught a fucking like chub on a yellow humpy. I don't know.
Dude, they're a great fly, man. They
try 'em
I
again.
won't
need
give
to
up
come
on
back.
them. I won't give
Like
up
you
on
can
them.
still find stimulators. I can't find a yellow hump anymore. It's
That's
wild.
so interesting.
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
such a big part of like we worked in fly shops as teenagers, and
Yeah.
dude, we always had red and yellow humpies. Always.
For sure. Yeah. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they're great.
Yeah.
They're awesome. Yeah.
Colby,
man.
thank you, man. This has been such a blast getting to chat, and I really appreciate you finding the time to do this with us. I know you're
Busy.
going on tour. You're on tour right now. How can people?
Yeah, we're always on tour. Yeah, if you want to see us, go to colbyacuff.com. You can follow me, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever you want to. Look up Colby Acuff. My dumbass will probably show up, and just click on that and buy the tickets. We'll see you around.
And on the fly fishing side of things, Fin and Feather is coming out.
Yeah, Fin and Feather will be on Colby Acuff YouTube page.
Okay, cool.
So check it out. Yeah, Fin and Feather is coming out sometime, I think, in late June. But we'll have a ton of episodes this year, and I think we'll be seeing it around quite a bit. So hopefully everyone gets to watch it.
And if people haven't seen it, Music and Fly Fishing by the Fly Lords.
Oh, please.
That was
You
a
should
great
watch
episode.
it just for Wills.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I
the
was
hell
saying.
with me. I'd watch
My
it just
dog
for
Frankie
Wills.
loves things with wills in it. It's so funny. when I'm watching something, she's always like,
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
Oh man.
Oh, that's
Well,
awesome. No, that
that's
episode
great.
was great, and I think that's a cool series that they're working on, and
Oh, I love
obviously
it. Yeah.
you're featured in one of the episodes, so people should go watch it.
Big
Yeah.
time.
Please do.
All right. Thank you so much, Colby. Much appreciated. Have a good one.
Appreciate you all. Thank you so much once again. Hopefully we get to see you soon.
That's a great chat with Colby.
I'm telling you, you guys really connected there. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just for most of it, I was just like, I'm just gonna let these two go at it because you guys were really like, yeah, I thought you guys like,
It was fun to
just
talk
talk
about.
about music and stuff, and
It was cool to talk about the Nashville thing because I don't know much about it, but it's Nashville.
I mean, when I was working at something I didn't mention, but when I was working at EMI Music
Mm-hmm.
or interning, I should say, not working, it's not a job, and
Yeah.
as a junior sound engineer, like the songwriters we were working with, we were just sending everything to Nashville
Yeah.
to get played with like session bands down there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but everything went to Nashville. It was like the best players are in Nashville, the best
Yeah.
session musicians are in Nashville,
Yeah.
the best this, the best that. I think it's like really is like
A little hub.
you hear about it being kind of the last stronghold of the music music industry.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's like a place where lots of musicians gather and
yeah. I mean, he's played the Grand Ole Opry. That's pretty friggin' amazing.
let's get better than that.
Like that's pretty rad.
Very cool. Very cool.
Would you say
Yeah.
Massey Hall is like that for Toronto?
Massey Hall's a cool venue, yeah, but I mean, I think the Grand Ole's got
Well, obviously it's not as big as the Grand Ole.
it's got quite a lore.
I just wonder, is there a place like that in Canada that has the kind of lore that the Grand Ole
Massey
Opry
Hall's
has?
got some good lore. The Cameron House even does, I would say. There's lore in these old buildings. There's a lot of buildings that, sometimes it's like, sometimes I'm in an Uber and the Uber driver's like, man, in the 60s, Zeppelin played there and it's like closed. You know what I mean? Like all these
Yeah.
venues where it's like Yorkville back in the day used to like Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix be hanging out in Yorkville and it was like hippie town. It was cool,
The Stones played at Zaphod's in Ottawa. Zaphod's isn't
That's
there
right.
anymore.
That's right. I know. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. It's history everywhere. But yeah, it was very cool chatting to Colby about, given some of the stuff he's done and his music career taking off and just being in the thick of it.
It'd be kind of funny, like just like you're working in a fly shop with this guy
Yeah.
and you're guiding with him and you're like, just talking about like, oh, where are they taking? 16, size 16 elk hair caddis today.
Yeah.
By the way, I got to put in my 2 weeks notice because I'm a rock star now. And
I'm
they're
gonna
like,
go.
what?
Yeah. He's like, I'm just going to go try this out. And then he does it.
Yeah,
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I think that's radical.
Yeah.
We just got off the water, literally.
Yeah. Like moments ago.
We're
Zipped, zapped, and zopped.
zip zapped and
We
zopped.
slept in our cars last night. We had a fun little camp out on the side of the river.
Yeah.
And had a little bonfire and a couple of brewskis. And then we all
maybe more than a couple.
we all curled up in our respective vehicles and found a ridge in the car that wasn't too pokey. And I was literally sleeping between my rods and just a bunch of pillows. It was actually kind of comfy. My rods made a little
You look
pyramid.
like you had like a little cocoon there.
It was quite tucked in my little hatchback.
Wait,
But,
why were the rods in your car? Why weren't they in
the
your
rod tubes? Of course, I got a river quiver installed, a River Smith river quiver. Just a two banger.
Two banger,
Yeah, but kind of fun to just throw your rods up in there and set them and forget them. They're still in there right
We're
now.
not sponsored. He just happens to
No, I just have one,
have one.
and it's super cool.
This is not an ad, but it does make your Volkswagen look sick.
It does look, yeah, it looks like a potato launcher on top of my car, like
Yeah, it
a
looks like a
grenade
bazooka.
launcher.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, it's kind of fun to have them up there. I think I'll get good use out of that quiv. But yeah, it was a fun night camping out, eh?
Fun night and
Got a little chilly.
got a bit chilly.
Had a bit of a cold front roll in. Let's just say but it was
Let's just
fun.
say the fishing was not good.
I mean, listen, everybody, we knew the cold front was coming on like Wednesday, and we're like, should we go? But we're like, let's go because it's fun anyway. So we want to camp out, and we don't want to just like pull the plug on a whole weekend thing.
Yeah.
But we're like, maybe. You don't know if you don't go. Maybe it'll be like, oh wow, this cold
We're
front
like,
came in, and
we're
it was
pretty sure
actually
we know.
It's like the one time this cold front made it actually epic because of the whatever. Wasn't the case. We called it. We called that shot.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and we ran into a couple peeps. Saw Tyler.
Dunsmore, that's right.
Tyler
That was so funny.
Dunsmore.
We were just camping out and he just floats by and we're like, is that Tyler? And
we
we're
had a
like,
beer with him.
stop for a beer, drop the anchor.
And he did. Yeah.
Which was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And they stopped by and we chatted with those guys for a bit, and then they kept on floating down, and we had a good time. It was a fun float. Thank you for rowing.
No problem. I just feel like it's like this new skill that I'm really trying to build.
It's a cool skill. I mean, honestly,
like as part of the fly fishing repertoire, like people are like, oh, what's next on your fly fishing jersey? I just want to really learn how to
row a river.
Better at rowing and like setting up shots for
your I'll tell
anglers.
You're learning to do it with two of the worst oars you could possibly do it with. So when we get better oars for our boat, you're going to be like, dude, you're going to be like a maestro on that river, man. You're going to have good oars and it's going to be like lights out, you know?
I mean, I could have done without I'm not trying to disparage Adis, but when the wind is gusting like that,
tall
you've got like a 230-pound sail on the front, and I'm just trying to keep the boat straight. I'm just like,
it's good practice.
Here we go.
Yeah, I know.
My forearms are toasty.
I bet, dude. I get those oars are ruthless.
Dude, they're
just
so
to keep
heavy,
them,
dude.
just to keep them
so
up.
Heavy.
Yeah, I know it's whack. Just to keep them up, like they're not balanced right because they're so weird, and the whole thing's insane,
the whole thing's weird. It's like, especially after rowing like Matt's boat, Josh's boat, David's boat. Like it's like, we have got to get new oars.
I would say it's a priority now, so that we can have a summer with good oars
and a steelhead season.
Yes, but I'd love to do some
of course,
summer floats first. Of course, I'm not thinking about them yet. That was fun. It was windy.
Oh boy,
as well.
Oh boy,
I was pretty freaking cold today, man. Like my hands were like, there was moments where my hands were just, it was like. Probably,
I think I might have been a bit warmer than you because I was rowing so much. So it's just like, Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was also like, we woke up, it was like 4 degrees. Literally. It's been like 20 degrees like the last week, so we're not used to it all of a sudden.
And everything was wet.
Yeah.
Everything was just
in my car.
It rained.
It's like,
it rained so much.
Yeah.
The river was not blown. The river was in perfect condition. Perfect condition.
It's beautiful.
Aside from the fact that it was freezing.
And the fish were like those popsicles. Little
troutsicles.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it was a fun day, and thanks for remembering we have to put a podcast out tonight because it's 9:00 now. We're recording this. I'm gonna edit it, put it up right now. So everybody at home, we hope you're enjoying the show. And thanks for tuning in to yet another episode. Thanks again for Colby for coming on, Hannah and Joe for having the connection made to Colby. I think that's about it, eh?
Yeah, I was gonna say, normally I said I was gonna start every podcast this summer with reviewing Muskoka beer, but we had a lot of them.
Oh, last night, man.
Over the weekend,
Tread Lightly's and
yeah, they were flowing. But I will say, the tropical wheat. I kind of forgot. Like wheat beers were so popular a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I kind of forgot about them. And I had
beer.
that one, and it is tasty.
I love a wheat beer. I really, really
do. Dude, you were drinking them in left field.
I know. I was, and yeah, the Muskokas were flowing last night. We didn't have any wheat Muskokas last night, did we?
Oh well, I did.
Right, in the survival pack.
Yeah, buddy.
I was sniping the Tread Lightly's. Pretty horrible.
Yeah, you were. You love that beer.
It's a great beer. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. That's it for me, Mitch Aldo.
That's it, everybody. Hope you're having a nice spring.
Take care.
Comb your hair.